Okay, happy Monday, everyone. It's great to see you. Looking forward to getting back into our Rashis this week. We will learn a Rashi from the second Aliyah for today, just to get us into it. Actually look at a couple of pieces of our Aliyah today. The Aliyah opens with the lineage, flowing from Reuven, Shimon, eventually Levi. This comes after the Arba Lashonas Geula, the famous mention of the four languages of redemption, the continued process of Moshe and Aaron going to speak to the people, going to speak to Paro, trying to get the Jewish people out of Egypt. Then the Torah makes an abrupt kind of turn to discuss lineage and to discuss generations, to discuss progeny of Reuven, Shimon, and then Levi. And the reason why it does that, as Rashi notes at the beginning of our Aliyah, mitoch sheniskak liyaches shivto shel Levi ad Moshe ve'Aaron, bishvil Moshe ve'Aaron, kitchil liyachsam derech toldosam Reuven. The whole purpose of this is because we need to be introduced to Moshe and Aaron in a formal way. They're outside of Egypt, they're doing their thing, they're coming in, now they're taking on the more formal role as those who are going to redeem the Jewish people, those who are going to take on the role of Levi, of Kohen, of everything that is to come. We need to be formally introduced to them in terms of their lineage. And in order to do that, we start with Reuven, then Shimon, then the tribe of Levi, all the way down to Moshe and Aaron. That's why we're discussing lineage here at all. So after it goes with all this lineage, we finally come to the punchline, which is, who Aaron and Moshe? Finally, we've reached the point which we were waiting for. This is the lineage of Aaron and Moshe. Asher Amar Hashem lahem hotziu bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim al tzivosam. Those who Hashem commanded to take the Jewish people out of Egypt according to their hosts. So this is the punchline, and that's the pasuk that Rashi was anticipating in the Rashi that I just showed you. But what's interesting over here is what Rashi notes. Hu Aaron u'Moshe. That's how the pasuk begins. So first of all, it tells us, this is the same Moshe and Aaron as is charted out here in the whole lineage, who was born from Yocheved and Amram, mentioned here in Pasuk Chaf. That's why this whole lineage is mentioned, and now we're coming back to them because they're the prime suspects, the prime reason why all this is being spelled out. But now he comments on the order here of who Aaron u'Moshe. Who Aaron u'Moshe, Asher Amar, etc. Yesh mikomo shemakdim Aaron l'Moshe, v'yesh mikomo shemakdim Moshe la'Aaron. Lomar sheshkulim shneim ke'echad. If you take notes, right now they're being mentioned as a pair. They're a duo. They're a team. And Rashi's telling us for the first time that you have to pay attention, because sometimes the Torah refers to them as Aaron and Moshe, and sometimes the Torah refers to them as Moshe and Aaron. Look at the very next pasuk. Right here we have who Aaron and Moshe. In the end of the very next pasuk, it says who Moshe the Aaron, which is the order. They go back and forth. And so Rashi is noting over here that we have to pay attention to the order and at least note the oddity of the fact that it goes back and forth, right? If it only said Moshe and Aaron every time, that would be strange too. You'd have to figure out why. If it only said Aaron and Moshe every time, that would be odd, but you have to figure out why. Now we have the back and forth, which kind of makes sense, but you have to give a reason for it. And the reason why it goes back and forth, sometimes one way, sometimes the other way, is to teach us sheshkulim shneim ke'echad. They're both equal in their role. If it mentioned Moshe first every time, we'd assume Moshe is the most important figure of this duo, and vice versa. But the Torah reverses them back and forth to teach us that they are shkulim. You have to ask another question now on Rashi: is there a method to the madness? Is there a reason? We understand in the grand scheme of things why they keep going back and forth in terms of the order, but is there a method to the madness in every given pasuk? Is there a reason why in Chavav it says Aaron and Moshe, why Aaron's being highlighted, and in Chav Zayin, why Moshe is being highlighted ahead of Aaron, right? Is it by choice or is it totally random? That you have to figure out on your own. That's a topic for another shir. But assuming right now it's random, right? They're just mentioned sometimes this way, sometimes that way, so that in the totality of things, we realize they are shkulim. What I wanted to point out about this Rashi is that the fact that they are shkulim, that are weighted equally, is not only important for us, the readers, so to speak, the rest of Klal Yisrael, to realize that they both have important roles, but I think this was incredibly important to Moshe as well, because it's something he worried about greatly. If you look back to last week's parsha, I'm going to switch back to this screen, okay? When Moshe was still at the Sneh, having this whole interaction with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, saying, no, don't send me, don't send me. And Hashem says, no, you have to go. Aaron will be there to speak with you. Moshe, not in full words, but just in terms of the in-between of this pasuk, reveals that he's very concerned with that. He's very concerned with Aaron being his mouthpiece and him being the main player, the main event, right? So when Hashem says to him here in the pasuk, "Hello, Aaron, achicha alevi yadata ki daber yadaber hu," he's going to speak. He's going to be your mouthpiece. Hashem adds one more piece of information, which is v'gam hinehu yotze likrasecha v'ra'acha v'samach belivo. Don't worry, Moshe. He's coming out to greet you, and he's going to be happy in his heart. Rashi over here in last week's parsha explains why Hashem added that last piece of information. Don't assume, Moshe, that Aaron is going to be upset with you, that you are rising in prominence, that you are taking on a greater role than him, your older brother, and that he's going to take offense at it, and that he's going to be insulted, and that he's not going to want to greet you, and he's not going to want to partner with you. Don't worry. He's coming right for you. He's coming at you. In fact, later in the parsha, Hashem commands Aaron, lech, go and greet Moshe, right? To give it an extra layer of warmth and of love. Not only is Aaron going to come out to greet you when you come to him, but even before he comes to your home, to your location, you go out to his location. Go and greet him. Go and meet him halfway along the journey to show him even more so, that you are happy in your heart to see him, to allay his concerns. So in between the lines of this pasuk, the words of this pasuk, Rashi tells us that what is revealed to us is Moshe's concern with him rising in greatness, that Aaron might feel bad. Aaron might feel demoted. And therefore, Hashem pumps him up and says, no, don't think that way. Aaron is happy. He's happy in his heart. He's going to greet you. With that backdrop of last week's parsha, the immediacy of the interaction is taken care of. Hashem says, don't worry. He's not going to be angry at you in that moment. He's going to come out and he's going to greet you. And they do. They greet each other. They embrace. But now, one parsha later, Rashi is reinforcing to us that the order of their names keeps being switched to tell us shkulim, that they're equal in their weight, in their roles. Maybe the reminder is not just to us, but maybe as a comfort to Moshe himself. We learn that throughout the process, not just in that initial moment where they encounter each other, and Hashem allays his concerns, says, no, he's going to be really happy to see you. But maybe what Rashi is revealing to us in our puzzle is that throughout the process, Hashem continues to reinforce to each of them that they are shkulim. Not only to us in terms of the text and what it says to us, but maybe throughout the process, Hashem reassured them that they both had important roles, reassured Moshe throughout the process that Aaron was equally important and took on an equally great role, and that no one was insulted, but they were happy to partner with each other. I hope that gives a little insight into our Rashi, another layer to our Rashi, not just explaining this interaction, or this order of the names, but explaining the broader context of their relationship and Moshe's concerns, but also teaching us that even though sometimes, when it looks like someone's rising in greatness and other people might feel less, it's not always what meets the eye. You never know exactly what kind of role you're going to play or someone else is going to play. What it looks like is not necessarily what it is beneath the surface. It might look like Moshe is the superstar and Aaron is the sidekick, but in reality, Hashem considers it shkulim. Hashem considers them equal. Hashem considers both their roles to be critically important. That's something we have to recognize in our own interactions as well. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.